If you're still picking products by scrolling endlessly through TikTok or copying someone else's meta ads, then you're setting yourself up to fail. You want the truth? The top 1% of dropshippers are not copying anyone else's ads. They're using real data to find products that are already making money. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to find winning products the right way using free tools that nobody is talking about. So let's get into it. Before we dive in, let me quickly explain why so many people fail at this, and most importantly, how you can avoid wasting months testing bad products. There are 3 common mistakes that I see people make. First and foremost is just copying their competitors' ads off of the meta ad library, and in some cases, even their landing pages, without even checking as to whether or not the product is actually profitable. The second is relying on Meta and TikTok trends without actually checking long-term product viability. And the third is choosing products based off of hype, without actually checking order value, seasonality, or demand. The reason this is such a problem is because dropshipping isn't about just picking a winning product. It's about choosing the right product the right way. Let me show you exactly how to do that. Most dropshippers think that product research is just picking a product that looks cool or has gone viral. But this couldn't be further from the truth. If you don't run your product through the 4-stage product validation method, then you're setting yourself up to fail. And there are 4 key validation checkpoints. First and foremost is the profit multiplier. So this is where you need to take into consideration your average order value, so essentially the price point of the product, and the customer lifetime value. By customer lifetime value, what we mean is the value of the customer throughout their lifetime, okay? Is this a dropshipping store where people just come and purchase one particular product and they never return? Or is it the sort of thing where people come back and they buy again? The reason this is important is because we need to determine whether or not this product will give you at least a 3x return with regards to the profit margin. To achieve a 3x return on a single sale, you'd need around about a 70 to 75% profit margin. The reason that I recommend at least a 3x return is because if your profit margin is too tight, then it may limit your availability to actually scale, especially if you're using paid advertising channels. You need to make sure that you have enough margin to cover the cost of advertising, and of course make sure that there is enough profitability left over past the point of the sale. Second is the evergreen factor, seasonality, okay? Can this product sell 365 days a year, or will it die after just one season? Now, I'm not saying that you can't build a seasonal store, but if you're trying to build something long-term, what would you prefer? Sales 365, 247, or just sales throughout one specific season? I know what I'd prefer, 365, 247. Next up is the demand test, search-driven validation. Are real buyers actively searching for this product, or is it just a social media trend? There's a big difference, okay? And I'm going to show you how to measure search demand using a simple tool. And the last and final stage of the validation is the competition gap, market positioning. Can you sell this product differently or better than your competitors? Or is this just a price war? Because if you're just doing the exact same as what your competitors are doing, for example, ripping their meta ads and ripping their landing pages, which a lot of people in dropshipping seem to do, then all you're doing is creating a price war. The only thing that differentiates you from them is your price point. Whereas what we need to be doing is thinking outside the box. We need to make sure that our product is competitive in the market and that we're actually measuring the competition gap. This 4-stage formula takes the guesswork out of product research, okay? No more scrolling on TikTok or looking at meta ad library, trying to find winning products based on how long someone's been running an ad. We're actually going to use data and analytics the right way to find the right product. Now, before I show you how to use the 4-stage product validation method, I actually just want to clear up one misconception. And that is that there is not only one way to dropship, there's actually 2. And both can be profitable depending on your business goals. I've created a table here to very easily break down the 2 different types of dropshipping, okay? First and foremost is China-based fulfillment, also known as traditional dropshipping. And the second option is local supplier dropshipping, okay? The authorized reseller method. I'm going to break down a brief description of each, as well as the pros and cons. So let's start with China-based fulfillment. This is where you source products online from China, using websites such as AliExpress, CJ Dropshipping, or AutoDS. And you ship your products from China directly to the customers worldwide. This is the traditional method that most people are familiar with. Now, the second is using the authorized reseller method. So instead of dropshipping from China, You actually build relationships with domestic brands and fulfill orders to domestic customers. For example, if you chose the US market, you'd work directly with US-based brands and fulfill orders to US-based customers. Now, there are pros and cons of each, okay? Pros of the traditional dropshipping method are larger product selection, higher margins. Remember, we spoke about a 3x margin. Really important that you confirm that because it's going to make it much easier to scale your product. And also there is less competition if you find the right products. The reason I say that there's less competition is because when you're using the authorized reseller method, you become an authorized retailer of the brands, okay? You're selling products on their behalf, but it won't just be you that's selling the products. There will be other people in the marketplace selling the exact same products, which can sometimes make it difficult for you to differentiate when it comes to market positioning. Remember, the competition gap, one of the important stages of the 4-product validation method. But there are some pros to the authorized reseller method. If, for example, you are working with US brands and shipping to US customers, you're going to have a much quicker shipping time, okay? It's quite common of shipping directly from China to have a 5 to 10 day lead time, whereas in the US, it may be 2 to 3 days, depending on the product size, what state it's being shipped from and where it's going to. Ultimately, that's going to provide a better customer experience. Not only the quicker lead time, but also because you're working with authorized brands, maybe they've already been in the US market for quite some time, and there may be brands that people are very familiar with. So you get to leverage their brand authority and their brand name as an authorized reseller. Now, lastly, and this is an important one, is you can gain access to very high ticket products. Okay, there are people out there dropshipping saunas, gun safes, garden sheds. Believe me, it's true. Not only have I utilized this method myself, but I've also worked with many dropshippers over the years, selling some crazy high ticket products that you'd never imagine are dropshippable. But what are the cons of the two methods? As I mentioned, typically you'd experience longer lead times because you are shipping from China. You could also face issues with product quality, but you need to make sure you do your due diligence, get the product shipped to you first, make sure it's actually a product that is of good quality, and monitor reviews as well. Now, the cons of the authorized reseller method are typically lower margins, okay? Because you're working directly with a brand, they've already paid all of the importation and the shipping costs to get the product over to the domestic location. In this instance, let's go with the US. So they're the ones that have the 3x margin, okay? The 70 or 75%, which means they'll typically give you about half of what they've got, okay? And it does vary depending on the brand or the industry, but it's not uncommon to expect sort of a 25 to 35% gross margin, which makes it more difficult to scale. Remember, this was one of the pillars inside of the 4-stage product validation method. With a tighter margin, it's going to limit your scalability, okay? You have less to spend on advertising. Therefore, you need to maintain a higher return on ad spend. Now, there is one exception to this. Okay, remember we said earlier that with this method, you can ship higher ticket products. So even with a 25 to 35% gross profit margin, if you're selling products that are $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 in value, a 25 to 35% margin isn't too bad, right? Let's assume you're selling a $10,000 sauna. You may still have a $2,500 or even a $3,500 margin available, which you can then spend on acquiring the sale. So you have a lot of money that you can then spend on advertising. But supplier approval can sometimes be a little bit more difficult. In my experience, it's very easy to build relationships with suppliers in China. They'll take on pretty much anyone that's going to get them a sale. Whereas working with domestic suppliers, they're a little bit more picky. Why? Because you're becoming an authorized reseller of their product and their brand. So they want to make sure that they're allowing people that they trust that are going to have good credibility in the industry to then sell their products. They care a little bit more about who is representing them, which means this method typically requires a bit more of a setup. For example, if you are working with a US-based business, they probably want to see that you have a US LLC. They want to check out your website that you're going to be pushing traffic to, because like I say, they want to make sure that they're building a long-term partnership here and that you're going to represent their brand in a way that they want it to be represented. Now, the process to research and validate winning products is exactly the same for both methods. The only difference is how you actually acquire and fulfill the products. Now, it doesn't actually matter which method you choose, okay? Whether you're using the traditional method and dropshipping from China, or you're using the authorized reseller method. Both of these methods of dropshipping work. I've personally built and scaled successful stores using both methods. Back in 2020, I launched a high-ticket dropshipping store using local suppliers, okay? I was selling nursery furniture, prams, pushchairs, car seats, travel systems in the UK market. I scaled that store to about $30,000 in monthly recurring revenue within about 6 months. after about 2 years, I actually got the opportunity to exit the brand and I actually sold the business on. So I can tell you with certainty that the authorized reseller method works. Now, additionally to that, I also recently partnered with someone on a dropshipping store where we're using the traditional method, where we're dropshipping from China. Coincidentally, this store is also about $30,000 to $35,000 in monthly recurring revenue. So trust me when I say both methods actually work. I've done them both successfully. Now, in this video, rather than break down both of the different methods, I'm going to focus on the traditional fulfillment method, okay? Dropshipping from China. The reason I want to start here is because you'll have access to more products, you'll have a higher margin, and you can ship products globally. If you do want a complete breakdown into the authorized reseller method, drop a comment on the video saying authorized reseller method, and I'll be sure to make a video on it. But let's get into the 4-stage product validation method, starting first and foremost with average order value and customer lifetime value. So I like to start with a very simple Google Sheet. All I do is I make note of product ideas, and then I work through the validation methods. And if all of these align, then we have a product that is worthy of testing. So let's start by finding some product ideas. Where do I go for this? Well, it could be anything. You could write things down as they pop into your head, or you can just look online and see what you come across. So I like to use Amazon as a starting point. And here we can see I've gone to bestsellers and it's broken down by niche. And let's say within that niche, we want to look at home decor. And then perhaps within home decor, we want to niche down even further. But for now, I'm just going to have a scroll to see what's coming up. So we've got LED night lights, okay? This could be an interesting product. Obviously, the price point here is a little low, but disregard the price point that you're seeing in Amazon, okay? At this stage, the price point doesn't matter. I'm going to show you how we check that shortly. But for now, I'm going to start making note of some things that I see. So LED night light. What else do we see on here? Bathroom rugs, automatic air freshener, okay, an aroma diffuser, okay, interesting. Let's write that down. Aroma diffuser. Remember, at this stage, these are just ideas, okay? There's not a right or a wrong way of doing this. I'm just selecting products that catch my eye and look interesting. Okay, I'm not really getting too much else that's popping up here. What's this? Essential oil diffuser, okay. We've already got night lights, so I don't think we need a second one on there. Let's try another category. Let's see what we find specifically under fragrance, because I was finding some interesting things on there. Diffuser. Okay, smart locks. This could be interesting. What else have we got on here? Baby sound machine. Okay, I like this. Let's see. All right, now we've got a few ideas that we can run with. You get the idea, go on Amazon, go on another website and just see what you come across. Next, we're going to check out the profit multiplier. So we want to understand the average order value. To do that, we're going to simply go to Google and then go to Google Shopping. Now in here, we're simply going to copy and paste our product ideas. So starting with LED nightlight. Let's have a look to see what price point on average these are coming through at. Obviously, this is in AED because I'm based in Dubai. So to convert AED to USD, you pretty much want to just divide by 4, okay? And what we're doing is we want to just look to see what the average price point is of these products. If we're dividing by 4, I'd say the price point is just too low, okay? Ideally, I'm looking for something that is maybe $50 to $100 at least as an average price point. Keep in mind as well, if we are drop shipping from China, we want something that's maybe going to be quite lightweight, okay? Otherwise, we're going to end up paying a lot of money with regards to shipping. So I would say probably something that's maybe around 5 kilograms or less would be ideal. Otherwise, you're going to be spending a lot of money. Now, it seems that the average price point for these is too low. I'm seeing a lot of 20, 30, 40 AED, which is about $10, way too low. So we're going to put in here currency, $10. It's too low, okay? We're looking for something a bit higher. So let's go for the aroma diffuser. Okay, this is looking a little bit better. We've got 1,155. So that is about $200, $250. Got this one here, which is about $50. Great. This one here, which is also about $50. Great. This is the same one that we just saw here. Okay, so I would say then average price point of these varies a little bit, but we've got, like I said, $50, $50. We've got one that's kind of way up, about $200. This one here is maybe about $30. Okay, right, so I'm going to say as a gut feel, these are averaging about $40 to $50. This one here even more. This is about 60 or 70. So I'm going to say on average, and again, this is a gut feel. It doesn't have to be perfect at this stage. I'm going to say about $50, okay? Now you'd obviously proceed to do this for all of the different products. I'll do one more with you, but the process remains the same. Let's do smart locks because this is a little bit different. So about $50, This one's much more, about $1,000. This one's about $60 or $70. This one is about $150. So I'm going to say on average, these are about $150 to $200. So let's come in here and just put $200. Now, profit multiplier, okay? The question we're asking ourselves is, does this encourage repeat purchases? If you're getting an LED nightlight, I would recommend probably not, okay? So I would say no. When it comes to the aroma diffuser, well, I noticed that they were also selling oils. So that could be your opportunity to then bundle or even start doing subscriptions or getting repeat purchases, because people are going to be coming back for the essential oils to put inside of the diffuser. So I'll put yes. We can make a note here. Essential oils. Smart locks. Okay, are people going to come back and be buying more and more smart locks? It's unlikely. I'd imagine you use one on your front door, unless maybe you own multiple properties and you're leasing out the property, or perhaps you're allowing short-term rentals to come in, then maybe you want more because you might have multiple properties, but it's more than likely just going to be a one-time purchase. But because the price point is quite high, it doesn't matter, okay? We've got quite a nice profit margin here, okay? Assuming we've got about a 70 to 75% margin. It doesn't matter if we don't have the multiplier here, because we've got enough profit within the price point to make up for it. So you'd essentially just keep going through, keep adding more and more products on here, going to Google Shopping to check the price point, and then also looking at whether or not there are additional products that can be bundled or upsold. Another way to see this could be by simply clicking the ad, visiting the website of the person selling it, and seeing if they have any bundles or upsells. Let's take this one, for example. Let's see if they offer any cross sells with it. So they have down here related products, but they don't have anything for you to bundle on. Let's see if when we add to cart. No, not seeing any additional bundles or upsells. But we've also come across some different things that we could look into. A fragrance dispenser, an ionizer machine. Okay, these are new products that we can then go back to our sheet and add on. Next up is the evergreen factor. So we're going to be using another free tool. We're going to go to Google and we're going to type in Google Trends. There we go. So now, depending on our location, I'm going to set it to the US. Obviously set it to the location which you intend on advertising in. We're going to refer back to our sheet. We're going to copy and paste the product title and click explore. What we're going to see is search demand for aroma diffusers in the United States. Make sure you select a reasonable time frame. Past 5 years, why not? Now we want to determine whether or not this product is seasonal. So we're looking for obviously some consistency year round. We can see that there is a spike here over the Christmas period. It could just be that this is maybe a common giftable item. Therefore, during December, which it seems to be, people are looking for an aroma diffuser. It's probably just a good gift idea. But the rest of the time, year round, it looks pretty consistent, okay? Is this evergreen? Can we expect sales year round? Yes. What about smart locks? Okay, another product here that is evergreen. All right, this looks good. So are smart locks evergreen? We're going to simply put yes. Now, what's an example of something that's not evergreen? Okay, Christmas trees. Okay, obviously going to be an extreme example, but you can see this is something that is very clearly seasonal. So what you're looking for, as much as possible, is a flat, consistent line. As long as we're seeing consistency, as we were with the smart locks, obviously it's not going to be dead flat, but you can see it's within a range, okay? We typically fluctuate within the 50 to 100 range. That's great, okay? There's no times where it just drops completely to zero. There is consistency year round. So that passed the evergreen test. Next up, we have the demand test. Now for this, I use a tool called Google Keyword Planner. Now to use Google Keyword Planner, you do need a Google advertising account. It's completely free to create a Google ad account. And because I have one, this is the tool that I use. I always use it for product research. Now, if you don't want to create a Google ad account, or for whatever reason you don't have access to Google Keyword Planner, there are other tools you can use. I haven't used them personally, but I think you can use tools like SEMrush or Familiar to calculate how much search demand there is for a particular product. But because Google Keyword Planner is what I use and it's a free tool, I'm going to show you how to use that. So we click Discover New Keywords. Because we're in English, we want to keep the default language as English. I'm going to set the location to the United States because that is where I will be advertising. Save. And now we want to type in our product idea. So aroma diffuser. Now Google is going to show us how many people every single month inside of the United States are searching for the exact product that we want to sell. So you can see here aroma diffuser there are 18,100 people searching for this exact term on Google every single month. And then you can see beneath this, Google also gives us other keyword ideas that are relevant to what we searched for. So we've got an aroma 360 diffuser, we've got an electric diffuser, we've got people searching for best essential oil diffuser. So these are all terms that we can target when advertising our products. And I'll get onto that later. But what's most important is that we can see that people are actively searching for the exact product that we're looking to sell. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy and paste this figure. And under the demand test, we're going to enter the search demand, which in this case is 18,100. Now, personally, I would say the more demand, the better. Typically, what you will find is as demand increases, so does level of competition. So I'm usually looking for something that has at least about 10,000 monthly searches. You might find in some smaller markets, for example, if you're looking at some European markets or maybe even Australia, then the search demand may be a little bit lower. And that's okay. You can still target it, but just keep in mind that 10,000 searches is about a sweet spot, and that's fine. It doesn't mean you can't still target that location, but obviously because there's less people there, naturally there's just less demand. Let's do one more example where we look at smart locks. Okay, again, great. 33,100 searches for smart locks. So we're going to simply add that in the sheet. So now we want to look into the competition gap. Okay, so this is market positioning. So what we're going to do is we're simply going to return back to Google one more time. We're going to go back to Google Shopping and we're going to type in aroma diffuser. Now, I'm based in Dubai currently, and all of my research so far has been on the US market. Okay, so obviously, if I were going to advertise this particular product, I would make sure that I set up a VPN and I change my location to the US. For the ease of this example, I'm just going to proceed as I am. But obviously, you want to make sure you're searching Google Shopping for the location in which you're going to be advertising in. Now, inside of Google Shopping, if you scroll down to this section where it says brand, Google very kindly lists all of your competitors for you inside of this list. So it's actually showing you all of the different businesses that sell aroma diffusers. So let's click on Aroma 360, for example. We can see they sell a Mini Pro scent diffuser. And here we can find more information on the product. So if we were going to go into the aroma diffuser niche, we would be competing against Aroma 360. Take a quick look at their website. So here we have the Mini Pro Scent Diffuser. Now, what we want to do is see if there are any other people selling this exact product. Now, it looks like they have branded it there. It says aroma something. If we right click and click search with Google Lens, and then what Google is doing is it's going to show us all of the listings that use this exact image. So we can see there's actually a few different brands on Amazon that seem to be selling the exact same product with their own logo. Obviously, some of the listings are for Aroma 360, which is the brand that we initially looked at. Then we've got this one here that says better than X Aroma Tower. Let's click on this, for example. This brand is called Better Than X, but interestingly, the product is the exact same as the Aroma 360 one. So what does this tell us? Well, that tells me that they've both found a supplier in China that is selling the core product, and they've white labeled it by putting their logo on it. But good news for you is that means that you can source this product. And later, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. But let's refer back to our sheet. So what we're trying to do at this stage is see how much competition there is in the market. So let's refer back to Google Lens and let's see roughly how many people there are selling this product. Now, it seems quite popular on Amazon, but we've got the Better Than X, we've got Aroma 360, we've got one here called Hotel Collection, another here called Smart Aroma Diffuser, we've got the Bee Winner Scent Air Machine, Globe House Store, another one again. And here's the actual product on AliExpress. So it's actually called the Max Air Innovation product. Now, I'm not going to click on that just yet, but there's an example of a listing of a supplier that potentially actually sells this product. So having scrolled through here, I can see there's a lot of competition in this market, okay? There's quite a lot of people all selling the exact same product. So here, under competition gap, level of competition, I would say is quite high, okay? For that particular product, I'm seeing probably at least 10 competitors when scrolling through. And ideally, we want to be entering a market that has, of course, some competition, but we don't want too much for one particular product type. Now, this is obviously just one of the aroma diffusers that we looked into. There were others on the Google Shopping network, and therefore we could do the exact same thing. We could find a different product that is an aroma diffuser, and we could search for it using Google Lens and have a look to see how many people are selling that exact product. Because although we might be competing against other aroma diffuser sellers in the industry, We ideally want to try and find a product that isn't oversold. Okay, there aren't too many people selling it. And this will take a little bit of a refining, referring back to Google Lens, looking at another product and essentially working our way through. So although I've said high here as a competition gap, this is just for this one particular product. Ideally, what you're going to want to do is try and find a product that doesn't have too much competition. Okay. And I'd say too much competition is anything more than 10 other people already selling the product. Around about 5 competitors is probably the sweet spot. Now, obviously I could keep going here, but I don't want this video to be too long. Now, hopefully by this stage, you're starting to see how the 4 product validation method actually works. Now, once you've actually been through your list and validated a product, next up is sourcing and fulfillment. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it without wasting time negotiating with suppliers. Most beginners think that you need to manually contact suppliers, negotiate deals, and process every order one by one. But that's outdated. The easiest way to run a dropshipping business today is using a tool such as AutoDS, a tool that automates order processing, price updates, and order fulfillment. Now, it doesn't actually matter what tool you use. AutoDS is my preferred, but you can also use alternatives such as CJ Dropshipping or AliExpress. I just like to make this process as easy and seamless as possible, and for that reason, I use AutoDS. AutoDS is a platform you can come to find millions of different products and suppliers. Now, the good thing about AutoDS is that suppliers are verified by AutoDS on their end. So you don't have to worry about working with bad or untrustworthy suppliers. Obviously, do your due diligence. If you are going to work with a supplier, make sure you get the product sent to you first so you can check the product quality, the lead time, and make sure that everything is, of course, in check. Now, one of the other reasons I like AutoDS is because you can send them a link to a product that you want them to source or even just a product image. So earlier, when we were using Google Lens to find the aroma diffuser, if we found one that we wanted AutoDS to potentially source for us, we could send them the Google Lens image or a link to the product, and then they would get back to us with a price. Now, remember, when we receive the price point, we're going to want to refer back to our sheet and check what our competitors were typically selling for. So, for example, with the aroma diffusers, we could see on Google Shopping, people were typically selling for around about $50. Now, to respect our 3x multiple, we're going to want to make sure that the price we get back from the supplier is ideally 25% of the average selling price. So in this particular instance, we'd want the product price plus the shipping cost to our desired location to be about $12.50. That would then mean that we have our 3x multiple and our 75% gross margin. Once you've successfully sourced your product and at a reasonable price point, it's very easy then to just integrate it into your Shopify store with just one click. And then because AutoDS is actually connected to your store, once you generate a sale, AutoDS will automatically process the order with the supplier. The supplier will ship the product and provide your customer with tracking information. This means that you never have to place orders manually and your store essentially runs on autopilot. I'd always recommend starting by using a tool like AutoDS or CJ Dropshipping. Then once you actually start to generate some sales and you've got some data, then you can begin to shop around with things like private agents or contacting suppliers directly and start to negotiate terms and ideally build a long-term relationship. But it's best to do this once you actually have some existing sales data, so you can go to them and say, hey, look, we've been running the store for however long. This is our sales data. We really want to look for a long-term partnership. And that way you'll actually be able to negotiate some better rates. AutoDS do have a 14-day free trial. I think it costs about $1. So I'll drop a link in the video description. If you want to check it out, you can. Now that you have a fully automated system, the next step is learning how to drive traffic profitably. And what I say next might surprise you because it goes against the grain of what all of the other dropshippers out there are saying. I'm going to break down the 2 different types of marketing: intent-based and interruption-based. And it's important that you understand the difference before you decide what platform you're going to use to drive traffic to your store. So let's get into it. So let's start by breaking down the 2 different methods, okay? Intent-based versus interruption-based. What do I mean by intent-based? Well, intent-based is when you leverage paid advertising platforms such as Google Ads. Okay, think about how Google works. We were using it earlier to search for things like an aroma diffuser and a smart lock. And we verified that there are 18,100 people every single month in the US searching for an aroma diffuser and 33,100 people every single month in the US searching for smart locks. So let's think about that. These people are going to Google every single month to look exactly for the products that we're going to sell. Now you see why it's important that we validated search demand as part of our 4 product validation method. Now, let's compare Google Ads to other platforms that are interruption-based marketing, such as Meta or TikTok. Now, these platforms work by you putting a creative in front of a particular audience, someone that's actively scrolling on social media, in the hope that the creative that you put in front of them is going to be compelling enough that it makes them click on the ad, go to the website, and then buy. So with that creative, we need to do a lot more convincing, right? Because this isn't someone that's on Google searching for an aroma diffuser. We've had to create a creative, put it in front of someone in the hopes that it's going to be compelling enough to convert. We don't even know if they want an aroma diffuser, but we're going to get charged regardless. And I'll break down exactly what I mean by that in a moment. But if you're not someone who's very creative, right, how are you going to build out creatives that are compelling enough to convert? Now, what most people do and what most dropshipping gurus advise is that you go on Meta Ad Library, you go on TikTok Ad Library, and you start ripping other people's ads. Great. So you're going to start by just copying someone else. Now, not only is that inauthentic, but then what are you going to do if the ads don't work? Where are you going to get your creatives from? Well, with Google, you don't need to worry about any of that because we already know people are coming to Google, searching for the exact product that we sell. So all we need to do is put the product in front of the people that are looking for it, which is why I call Google intent-based marketing, okay? As opposed to interruption-based, which is exactly what you're doing on Meta and TikTok. So based on that explanation, do you not think it would just be better to target people that are already looking for the products that you sell, as opposed to trying to build a creative out that's compelling enough to convert, putting it in front of someone who's on social media, not to shop, but to look and see what their friends are doing or to be entertained? I mean, ask yourself, who is more likely to buy? Someone searching Google for an aroma diffuser or someone that's sat at home bored scrolling Instagram and TikTok? You tell me. Not only that, but the way in which the platforms charge you as an advertiser are very different, okay? Google ads, you only pay when someone clicks on your ad. This is why it's also known as PPC advertising, okay? Pay per click. So not only are people searching Google for the exact product that you sell, but you're also only charged when someone clicks on the ad. Now that's very different to the way in which Meta works, okay? On Meta, you pay per view, okay? This is measured by your CPM column inside of Google, which is your cost per 1,000 views. So which of these two platforms do you think is going to give you a greater return on investment? The one where you're only charged if someone actually self-qualifies themselves by clicking on your ad, or the one where you're charged every time someone views your ad on social media? Next up is the sustainability, okay? Now, earlier we went through Google Trends and Google Keyword Planner. So we've identified for the product that we're going to sell that not only is it evergreen, but there's also search demand. Not only that, but we also looked at our level of competition, okay? So if we're to advertise this product on Google, we know it's evergreen, we know the demand's there, and we know there's not too much competition, which means we can expect consistency with regards to sales. It's not suddenly going to drop off tomorrow. Now, the difference with Meta is a lot of the time people are just scanning Meta Ad Library or TikTok Ad Library, ripping other people's content and just chasing trends. Now that's fine if you can get it to work, so long as the content just keeps on working. But what are you going to do when you need to refresh the creative or when the trend suddenly dies off and the product's no longer popular? Think about it. How sustainable is this business that you're actually building? Now you know that Google Ads is the solution. You're probably wondering, okay, how do I actually get set up on Google? I have a free group called the Google Ads Ecom Academy, and it shows you how to set up Google Ads the right way. It's completely free to join. Just see the link in the video description. Now, if you're already set up on Google, but you're looking for a way to scale your e-commerce store fast, then consider applying for my one-to-one mentorship program, the Done With You VIP Google Ads Accelerator. There's also a link in the video description for that where you can learn more. Here's a recent example of one of my one-to-one mentorship students, Sasha, who went from 0 to 513,429 euros in just 4 months. This is a brand new store that launched on October the 1st using a product that had been sourced using the 4-stage product validation method. And within 4 months, we scaled it to over €500,000 in sales using just Google Ads. Not to mention we did so whilst maintaining an 859% return on advertising spend. Okay, total spend here was €60,000. And total sales were 514,000. So 514,000 divided by 60 gives you a ROAS of 859%. This is a single product store generating sales only using Google Ads. As I mentioned a moment ago, if you want to scale your e-commerce store quickly, see the link in the video description to learn more and apply for my one-to-one mentorship program. That's all for this video. Hopefully you found it useful. If you did, don't forget to drop a like, a comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.